G'day everyone, welcome to Monetize Your Mission, how to uncover your greatest gift, make money doing what you love, and be able to contribute to your family, your community, and beyond. And today, I've got a guest that does exactly that. Please make welcome someone that I'm really excited to introduce to you, none other than Jessica Espinoza. Now, this is what Jessica does. She's a wellness coach. She's a health advocate. She's an author. She has a website called deliciousobsessions.com, which is all about how to eat clean so you can do it by saving time, saving money. She's authored 20dishes.com, which is all about how to have real food and 20 dishes of meal plans laid out. And she talks about self-acceptance and illnesses and how to overcome mindset gaps. And I'm so excited to introduce someone to you who is not in the wealth niche, but someone who's really passionate about what she does and has been able to monetize it. So Jessica, welcome to Monetize Your Mission.
Thank you for having me. That was quite the intro.
It's all true. So Jessica, tell me, part of the series is all about looking at the success, peeling the layers back at how it all began. So can you please tell me, how did all this eventuate? How did you become the wellness coach, Jessica Espinoza, and all the things that make up the success that you have?
Well, it was definitely a progression. It didn't all happen overnight. And that is like the first tip that I can give people who are wanting to start. Like, you have to just take one step at a time. So I started officially blogging in 2009. And then the site, as you see it today, I mean, it's gone through design changes, but that was started in 2010. And really, I just started blogging because I am the type of cook who scribbles down recipes on little pieces of paper, and then they get lost. And then people are like, oh, that tasted really good. Like, can I get the recipe? And I'm like, well, I have no idea where it went. So no, you can't. But I figured if I started a blog, I could easily categorize my own recipes for myself and then also share them with friends and family whenever they wanted them. So I really had zero expectations when I first started. But then I started blogging, and that was really about the time that the real food movement started to gain a lot of momentum. There were some really big bloggers coming on the scene. The Weston A. Price Foundation was gaining a lot of momentum. And so I got really inspired to be part of this movement. There was such a need for people to understand what real food was. I think it's kind of silly and sad that we, as a society, that we have to even define real food, that we've got fake food and real food. So I just really got motivated and really just inspired to be part of that movement. And so that kind of, it just motivated me to write more and get more involved locally with farmers markets and shopping local and food politics and things like that. So, but I really never started out expecting to monetize anything or to have this turn into a career or anything like that. I had zero expectations. So I remember my brother-in-law, I come from a whole family of entrepreneurs. Everybody's self-employed. So I think in the back of my mind, I always was like, okay, I know that I should be self-employed because that's just what my family does, but how am I going to get there? And I never really knew. I didn't have a plan. I was just I'm going to do it someday, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. So I remember my brother-in-law asking, probably in 2011 or so, he's like, well, how are you going to monetize all this? You're putting all this work into your blog. How are you going to make money? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And, you can run ads and you can be part of affiliate programs. There's way to make money as a blogger, but I don't know, I felt like I was selling out if I did that. So I really had this resistance to monetizing, and have since learned that I have severe money blocks. I think everybody has money blocks, but that was one of my first experiences with a money block. So I was like, no, I can't do that. And then I believe it was in 2012, in January of 2012, I had this post that went viral. It was a coconut oil use post on my site. And my traffic literally spiked from hardly anything, maybe 20,000 unique views a month to hundreds of unique views, hundreds of thousands of unique views per month. And I was like, whoa. And so I was in this blogger group with other bloggers, and a couple of people in there, one gal in particular, she's like, you have to put ads on your site. You need to monetize your site. You're getting all this traffic and you're not making anything from it. So I put one ad on my site. It was a Google AdSense ad, and I started seeing the money coming in. I was like, oh, okay. So that slowly warmed me up to the idea of like, okay, I can monetize. And honestly, at that point, I was really starting to invest a lot of my time. I was still working a full-time job. But I was investing a lot of my time in the evenings and the weekends on this, on recipe development and writing and researching. And honestly, if I wasn't going to start making some money from it, then I really should have been spending that time with my husband or my family or my friends, or, doing things hobbies and stuff like that. So really, at that point, I started to realize that I needed to maybe start transitioning from a hobby to a business. But it wasn't until late 2013, early 2014, where I really started to view my blog as a business, and started to kind of have that change in mindset. I was introduced to some new entrepreneurs, people who were like doing what I wanted to do, monetizing and still being true to their mission. And I really kind of went through this transformation of like, I stopped thinking about myself as a blogger, and I started thinking of myself as a business owner and an educator with a mission. So it was, that was 2009 to 2013, 2014 that I kind of just was like floating along, kind of just going with the flow. But since then, I've been very, very conscious of viewing everything as a business. Like what I do, the effort that I put into it needs to pay off in some way. And it doesn't always have to be money. It can be, you're literally changing the lives of people, but there has to be some sort of reward for the time that you're investing, especially if you're working a full-time job and then you're also working a full-time job doing this. 2013 to 2014, I was honestly working about 75 to 80 hours a week. I was literally working on all my blog stuff about 40 hours a week, and then I was working a 40 to 50 hour a week job too. So at that point I was like, this is not sustainable. Like my health was starting to go downhill. So it was time to really start making some changes. So fast forward to like July-ish of 2014, I was working a job I've been working for a few years that I just really was unhappy in. It was literally sucking the soul out of me. My husband knew that I needed to make a change, but I was really too scared. Like I had enough money coming off my blog that I would be able to pay our bills, but or at least contribute to paying the bills. But I just was still scared to take that leap. And so something happened in July that I don't want to get into, but it was the catalyst for my husband to say, okay, that's it. Like enough is enough. Oh no, sorry. Somebody's calling me. I have a Google Voice number, and everybody, like all these telemarketers call me all the time.
The life of a blogger online.
I know, I'm so sorry. Let me sign out of my Hangouts. Maybe that'll stop them. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, so he gave me the push. He really gave me the confidence. He said, if we have to eat top ramen, which I would never do, but if we have to eat top ramen, so be it. Like you need to go out and you need to do your own thing. You need to get away from this job that you really don't like, and really just go do what you want to do. So I don't know if, I'm sure I would have broken out on my own at some point, but I really don't think that I would have done it that soon if it hadn't been for him. So I have to thank him publicly for giving me that push and saying, babe, you just got to go do it. So yeah, that was kind of the start of like really being on my own. And so since then, it's been an awesome ride. There's lots of ups and downs. There's lots of like personal development and like mindset issues. And like you really go through like the whole like spectrum of things, because all of a sudden you're free. You're like, wow, I don't have to report to anybody but myself. But then about a month later, when those paychecks stop, you're like, crap.
Yes.
So it's very emotional.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was kind of like my long process. That's how I got there.
So you really started your passion really just out of a hobby, just to try to categorize what you said, put into recipes that you love to do, people are asking, and you just started to have an online diary about that. That's really how it started.
Really, that was it. I needed to like not keep losing my recipes on little scraps of paper everywhere.
Yeah.
I need to be more organized. So that's really why I started it. I really didn't have any expectations of it like turning into an actual career. I'm so grateful that it did. And I, every day at some point during my day, I stop and I'm like, wow, like I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity, that we've been able to make this work. It hasn't always been easy, but that I've had this opportunity to do it, because there's a lot of people that want to do this and they either are not in a position where they can do it yet, or they just don't know how they're going to get there. So
yeah, which is what I want to talk to you about, because you had this hobby that you had a full-time job and you were doing this on the side, weekends, after hours, kind of like a Superman syndrome. Here you are, one person, and then turning into Superwoman the next. And you transitioned until something happened. You thought either it's going to happen or not, and you made the plunge. How does that happen? How did you start? Because I know you started gauging a lot of traffic, and that's when you started to put ads and monetizing it. What other channels do you use and how did you, other than I've got to make this work and find ways to monetize, what channels do you have currently that are in place that allow you to monetize your current online presence?
So there's a few different channels. So yeah, I started out with ads, and then I branched into different affiliate programs. I mean, there's an affiliate program out there for anything, no matter what you're going to
explain. What do you mean by affiliate program, just for our listeners who don't know?
Sure. So an affiliate program is essentially, say there's a brand out there and they want to work, essentially it's kind of grassroots marketing for that brand. So you can sign up to be an affiliate. You would promote that brand's products or services or whatever on your own site or your social media, and then you earn a percentage of whatever commissions go through your link. So you'll be given a custom tracking link, so that anywhere you use that link, any traffic that comes from that will be linked to you, so that you get a commission on it. Commissions will range, from 3% all the way up to 50%, or sometimes even higher depending on the program. So you can earn some really decent money with affiliate programs. So it's definitely a good thing to look into, especially if you're finding that you really, really like certain brands or certain products or certain services, and you want to share about that. I think the biggest thing with affiliate programs is that you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're promoting falls in line with your mission. Like, you don't, like me, I'm not going to sign up for some sort of like fast food or as a matter of fact, even when I started running ads on my site, I made sure I went through and I blocked things like McDonald's and Arby's and Taco Bell's, because I don't want those kind of ads displaying on my site, because that doesn't fit my mission. So you just want to make sure you select things that are going to fit with what your core values are. So,
so we've got affiliate programs, we've got ads. Is there anything else that you do to monetize your online presence?
Yes. So one of the biggest things, the biggest tip I would tell people, two things if they're just starting out. First, you want to start growing your list. This is one area that I didn't even start working on seriously until about 2013 or so. Wow. So I was kind of behind the times. Like I was really doing all of this, just learning as I go. And you'll hear marketing expert after marketing expert that's going to say the money is in your list. Yes. Start building that list from day one. Even if you just get one subscriber a week or one subscriber a month, start building that list, and start also mailing them consistently. I mail once a week on my site, but you might want to do once every 2 weeks or once a month, depending on what you're doing. But start building that list from the very start. And then also start working on your own products. So this is another area that I didn't start on as early as I would have liked. Now, hindsight is always 20/20. But I have a bunch of ebooks now. I have my own online store that is, separate from my Delicious Sessions site, but you can go and just buy any of my ebooks there. I also sell them on Amazon. And then also develop services that you can offer if you're going to be in that service area. Like, if you're going to be doing health coaching, or you can put together online courses, like 20 Dishes that you mentioned earlier. That's a meal planning site that I co-founded with a couple of other people. So those are different ways to kind of still stay true to my mission and what I'm passionate about, which is real food and healthy eating, but still be able to make money doing what I'm doing. So I would say that, yeah, building your list and focusing on developing your own products first is great. Like the passive income that you get from ad networks, like literally you just install ad code on your site and you don't ever have to do anything else with that and you get paid for it. So awesome. but you really don't have a whole lot of control over that. Ad networks go out of business all the time. Affiliate programs shut down. Your traffic may drop for some reason, and then boom, all of a sudden your income plummets. So you want to develop things that are in addition to those areas. Like extra money is fantastic, but you want to develop things that you're in control of, essentially. So your own products, your own services, your own courses, that stuff like that.
Beautiful. Excellent. And so I love the fact that you say that you're very specific about what you want to, I guess, display on your website, so it's in line with your mission.
Yes, and with ads, it's a little tricky because you can block sites, but ads are always going to be dependent on the cookies that are in people's browsers. So whatever their search history is going to display the ads. So I don't have a ton of control over what displays, because if somebody's on my site and they've recently been searching for McDonald's, they may see an ad for McDonald's, even though I have asked those ads not to be shown. So sometimes stuff just slips by. I have had people email and say, how come X, Y, and Z is displayed? And I'm like, well, because you may have been searching for X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so that is one thing. It's hard, but I think people, for the most part, are pretty used to, they're used to display ads showing, and yeah, I mean, they know what their search history is. So if they've been searching, if they see an ad for McDonald's, they're like, oh yeah, I was just looking at McDonald's. So
yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. And what I find really beautiful about yourself, Jessica, is that, you started off with this passion, and this is the question I get quite a bit, and I'd love to hear your response to it, is the passion started with food and eating real food and clean food and, cleaning up your internal organs so you can live a healthy life. What is the balance between, really fulfilling the love of talking about food coaching and being a health advocate and focusing on the business aspect of it, building your list, getting people, building your products and services, all that stuff? What's the balance of time that you give to each segment?
That's one of the tough areas. I'm actually going through a process right now of really developing firm processes for Delicious Obsessions for that brand. I'm to the point now where I'm able to afford some extra help. I have a couple of VAs who help me. And I realized recently that we don't have a lot of streamlined processes in there. So if I needed to hire somebody, or if one of my VAs quit, I need to have something that's very easy to get somebody up and trained with. So the balance part is really hard. So I've tried over the years to really just think smarter instead of working harder, essentially. So I think in all, like, the biggest thing probably for bloggers or people who are wanting to monetize their mission is branding, really getting yourself out there, and so that people can look at you as an expert. So that is going to be the bulk of what you need to do. You either need to be publishing great content and then promoting on social media. You need to be interacting with people on social media, interacting with people in your newsletter. If you've got private Facebook groups, those seem to work really well for community building. So interacting with people in there. The community building probably is going to take the biggest chunk of your time, and the branding, especially when you start, you're going to have to devote the bulk of your time into just even getting your content out there and getting it in front of people. That's where the largest chunk of your time is going to be. And then once you get a reputation built up, you may not have to do that as much, but you still want to make sure that you are interacting with your community and building that rapport and that trust and that value, so that people look at you as an expert, and if they ever are in need of a product or a service that you offer, you're going to be the first person that pops into their mind.
Yeah, excellent. And when you talk about content, and I know you blog once a week, how do you find the inspiration to find content for delivering to your blog?
Well, that was an area actually I started struggling with. Because there were so many things that I was passionate about. It's not like health and wellness is not just real food. I mean, it encompasses such a wide spectrum of things. So I actually, in 2014, I actually opened my site up to contributors, and I now have an awesome core group of contributors who are all very talented in different areas. So it really allowed me to bring a wider range of content, wider amount of content to my audience. Without me having to constantly be writing and thinking up new ideas. And, I'm so thankful for my contributors. I absolutely love them. And it gives them an opportunity. I specifically worked with contributors who were either just starting out or had a very small following, because I wanted them to be able to, they're giving me something for their writing for me. So I wanted them to be able to leverage my audience. So they're getting new readers and new subscribers. They can promote their ebooks and their products on my site. I'm completely fine with that. I promote them on social media. So they're building their brand and their recognition using my audience that I've already built up. So it's a win-win for everybody. So if you get to that point where you have some value that you can offer smaller bloggers, definitely look into having contributors if it falls in line with whatever your niche or your mission is. It can be a big help.
Yeah, that's really excellent, because even if you are looking to start blogging and you have a passion about something, you could even become the contributor for someone else. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And get your work. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a wonderful way of getting your name out and getting traffic. Tell me, the one that the coconut oil content that you put up that got all that engagement, what was it about that pretty much got the ball rolling for you?
Well, it was like so crazy. I did this post, 52, I forget what it's called, 52, it was 52 uses for coconut oil. And I had like a weird subtitle, like the odds, the crazy, it was some kind of weird subtitle for it. And I literally just wrote it because I was using a ton of coconut oil and I loved it. I literally use it for everything. And then readers were writing in and saying, I use coconut oil for this or for that. And I was like, I'm just going to make a use post for this. And I don't know what about it made it go viral, but I posted it. And then like a week later, my host actually contacted me in my hosting company. And she's like, yeah, you kind of crashed our servers. I was like, oh, okay, whoops. I had no idea. Like I never really checked my Google Analytics or anything. I had no idea I was getting extra traffic until she notified me. So I don't know what it was about that post, but it really, like that was like that push that I needed. And then from there, my audience went up more and more and more. So we never know what's going to go viral. Like I'll write posts where I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good one. It's going to go viral. And it's like crickets. Yes. And then I'll write a post that I'm like, oh, whatever. And I publish it. And that's the one that goes viral. So you really, people, you can read articles about what constitutes and what makes a viral post go viral. But honestly, it's just, you never really know. But if you do have a viral post, like if something goes nuts for you, then that's awesome, because that is like the best marketing, free marketing that you could ever get.
That's beautiful. And I think, yay for coconut oil, because who would have thought?
I know.
Who would have thought coconut oil? 52 ways. Oh my God. It's just my God. But you're just, I guess why I'm excited for you, Jessica, is because it's something called cooking. It's just something that we all, not all good at, not me all good at, but we do it. And then you found a way to take something, and what you said, the hobby, and transition it into that monetized phase, which is just proves the fact that you can do it. It's doable.
It is.
Tell me, what's the mission? Because you were speaking about, just in the beginning, putting up recipes, and then you got into the movement of, farmers market and the politics of food. What's the mission or movement that keeps you in the game, that keeps you going with what you do?
Really, I firmly believe that nutrition has to be the base of everything. And we are in a health crisis in the United States and across the world. Most of the chronic diseases and even a lot of the fatal diseases, cancer and diabetes and heart disease, those all can be prevented. Those are lifestyle diseases. They can be prevented by good diet and good nutrition. And there's been studies that have proven this. So I think the biggest thing is just helping to spread that knowledge. If I can help 1 or 2 people change their diet, reverse their diabetes, or drop the amount of insulin that they need, that's a huge, huge accomplishment for me. So really, I think just knowing that I can help change people's lives, even if it's just on a small scale, it doesn't have to be millions and millions of people. Even if it's just 10 or 20 or 30 people, I've done my job. So that's really it.
That's beautiful. And because obviously, like you said, you worked crazy hours, 75 hours that you worked sometimes. Yeah, and that's pretty a breeze sometimes compared to what you've done. But to really get it to where you are now, for someone who is in a 9-to-5 job and is toying with the idea of should I do something, should I not, is it worth it?
I think yes and no. It really depends on the person. I can say without a doubt that being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. Some people are just not going to be cut out for it because there is a lot of uncertainty. You are in charge of your own destiny, which can be really empowering, but it can also be really scary, especially because business is always going to ebb and flow. You can set yourself up to where you have passive income, but there's always going to be highs and there's always going to be lows. And you have to learn to roll with that. And that's, an education that I've had to go through, and I still go through. Like, I'll have those peaks and everything's great, and then I'll have a low and I'm just like, oh boy, what am I doing? So you have to be okay. Like, I just saw a quote today, actually, when I was getting ready to listen to a podcast, where you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Amen.
You just have to you have to know that you're making a risk, but the benefits of it, even though I may technically work sometimes as much as I was when I was working a 9-to-5 job, for me, I'm able, if I want to go for a walk in the middle of the day with my dogs, I can really do that if I want. If I have a day where I wake up and I'm like, I really just don't have it in me today to work and I want to watch television, I can do that if I want to. So that freedom of being able to craft your days how you want to craft them is, it's liberating and exciting. And once you get, I'm still looking forward into the future when I'm even more established and I have even more, passive stuff set up to where I can slowly stop working a little bit less and a little bit less and really start enjoying life more and more. So it's a progression, and you have to be okay with some ups and some downs and some uncertainty. And a lot of people are not going to be comfortable with not always knowing what their paychecks are going to be every month. That's really scary. And it was hugely scary for me because the job I left was a very good paying job. Yeah. And I got paid every 2 weeks, and I knew exactly how much I was getting paid. And so it can be really scary. But for me personally, the benefits of being my own boss, that outweighs all of the other struggles that I might go through.
And I totally hear you on that because, you've got, in the 9-to-5 world, like you say, the formula is already there for you. You get to a good market school to get a good job, get a good degree, and just stay out there. And the formula is basically laid out because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
That's where you get to have a mission, and that's where you're challenged in life. And there is no path. That's why the exciting part is to create your own path, because you can create your own wealth, your own mission, your contribution. At the same time, you need to know that there's no one been there. So you're going to be the pioneer that's going to, which is why people like yourself are so important, because you guys have pioneered that landscape of the unknown, and you're allowing us to see inside, well, what happens that allowed you to really progress yourself towards that journey. Mm-hmm. So tell me, Jessica, your mission is to really, I think that's beautiful, to be able to help someone reduce insulin, reduce diabetes in some way or form. And that's what moves you. If you could do it all again, transition, come out of a 9-to-5 job, go into becoming an entrepreneur, would you do anything differently?
If I could go back, hindsight, like I said, is always 20/20. So yeah, I think the first thing I would tell myself is to not get caught up in the perfection. It was interesting because just today I realized it again. Like, when you're an entrepreneur, and this year I invested in a transformation coach for me, both personally and professionally, best money I've ever invested in, because I was hitting these roadblocks and these mindset issues, and money blocks and just stuff that was really preventing me from moving forward. And I knew that I needed, as much as I wanted to be my own therapist, you can't really effectively be your own therapist. You need to get some help. So I've really invested a lot of time into the mindset issues. And then last week I had kind of a down week, and these issues never go away. You work on them and you get better at dealing with them and recognizing triggers and handling things. But honestly, your blocks are something that you're going to have to work on forever. They're never going to magically disappear. So I realized I am an analysis paralysis person. I love systems. I love being organized. I love figuring out the process to do something. but I get so caught up in that I don't actually start doing the projects because I'm too busy like planning out all the little details. So you really have to be willing to kind of just forge ahead. Like if you have an idea, it's great to like get an outline and get kind of a game plan together, but don't get so caught up in those details that you don't ever take action. That's something that I've had to really work hard on. So
yeah, that's so important, and it's testament to you, because you can't look at your own self. It's like, you can't diagnose your own self. You need to go to a doctor, get the prescription, and that coaching comes. Because really, I mean, in the 9-to-5 world, you have a manager, you've got someone who's going to tell you how to improve. But in the entrepreneurial world, you need someone in that space to kind of tell you what the next step is and what shortcuts to take and where to actually, like you're doing right now, which I think is the perfect time, because I know you've been very kind with your contribution to the Monetize Your Mission Summit, and you're giving our viewers and listeners access to Real Food 101 and the 21-day self-care guidebook. Could you tell us a bit about those free gifts that you're offering, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Real Food 101 is my opt-in gift for my newsletter. So that is kind of like your quick start guide of if you're brand new to real food. I find that a lot of people want to eat healthy, or they may want to transition off the standard American diet, but they kind of don't know where to get started. So I've outlined a quick start guide that gives them the basics. If they just start implementing these basics, they're going to be on the great path. And then we're actually going to be rolling out later this year, probably in the next few months, an expanded version of Real Food 101 that's going to be a much larger version, and then a companion cookbook as well. So it's going to be kind of like your whole starter kit. If you are wanting to transition to real food, then that's what you need to do. And then the 21-day self-care guidebook. So my mission has kind of evolved. So, I started out with just like the recipes, and then I started getting more into the health and wellness stuff. And then, in 2012, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness and have been, working on healing ever since then. So I really, especially in 2015, was a big year for me, realizing just how much your mind plays a role in your healing. So mindset issues, again, going back to different blocks, unpacking baggage from the past, dealing with, potentially past abuse or whatever you may have gone through, that could be, those emotions are holding you back from healing. You could be doing everything right. You could be eating perfectly. You could be sleeping perfectly and moving your body perfectly. But if your mind is not in the game and your mind is not healthy, then you're not going to be able to heal completely. So, the real food and the nutrition is kind of the base of Delicious Obsessions. And then I actually started my jessicaespinoza.com site to kind of dive into those deeper levels. So I'm going to be talking more about mindset and self-love and forgiveness and working through those deep, dark issues that don't really get spoken a lot about in the healing journey that you undergo. Because I was finding for myself personally, I was doing everything right. I was eating well and I was taking care of myself. I was doing everything perfect, but there was just things that were holding me back. So the self-care thing is a huge thing, and especially for entrepreneurs, because it's very easy. I find myself doing this all the time. It's very easy for me to get caught up in a project or booked with back-to-back phone calls every day, and I totally neglect my self-care. I neglect going on my walks, or I don't do my yoga because I feel like I need to get on the computer and start answering emails. So self-care has to be at the core of everything you do, because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot serve the world. You absolutely can't. You're not going to feel well mentally or physically, and if you don't feel well mentally or physically, you're not going to feel well enough to put out great content and to interact with your community in the way that you need to interact. So that guidebook is 21 days of things that you can do. You can go from start to finish. So if you're new to self-care, or you just need some help, like getting into a self-care routine, that guidebook will definitely help you.
That's awesome. And for people who are looking to start blogging, becoming entrepreneurs, I think that's a great resource. So the 21-day self-care guys and the Real Food 101 that Jessica just spoke about, highly recommend them. You can get them at www.deliciousobsessions.com/monetize mission summit gift. And that's a free gift that Jessica's offering you guys just for being a participant of this summit, so that you can kickstart and just take a look at how Jessica's actually doing it. I think it's an awesome way to see Jessica in action and learn from her material and see how she's putting it all together. So thank you very much for sharing that and gifting us with those beautiful gifts. And lastly, what I'd love to do is, we've gone through a lot of content, and I'm just going through the things that I wanted to ask you. And for those people who are in currently, I know for you were talking about you're looking at creating new income streams. Is there a next step for you that you're looking to, any big goals that you're looking to crack on in 2016, or anything that you'd like to share with us so we can watch out?
Sure. Yeah, I think the process of being an entrepreneur, it just constantly evolves. You're going to develop, as your skills evolve and your interests change, you're going to develop new products and new services. So the two big goals that are on the horizon for 2016, 2017 is we've kind of changed some of the things with 20 Dishes. We're actually rolling out what we're calling our Kitchen Advisor program. So our kitchen advisors are actually going to work within their communities locally, teaching them our 20 Dishes system. So it's almost going to be like having a cooking class, a live demonstration in people's houses. And then those advisors would earn commissions on any of the sales that they bring in from their in-home workshops. So we're in the process of getting all of that finalized. So that's the big thing for 20 Dishes for 2016. And then the big thing on my side, like the Jessica Espinoza side, is I'm actually going to be going back to school to work more on the mindset stuff. And eventually I want to start helping people with transformation coaching and mindset coaching, things like that, because it's been such an area that I've struggled with. And now that I'm more involved in that and I've invested in my own coach, I can really see how much it's held me back over the years. And if I can save women, a year or 2 years or 10 years, and help them really step into their most vibrant lives now rather than a decade from now, then, there's nothing in the world that would make me happier. So that's kind of the next evolution of me. Delicious Obsessions will still stay up and running just like it is, but then I want to start helping people on a deeper level than just the nutrition side.
I love the evolution of your journey. That's just,
totally.
That's the crux of monetizing your mission. You've got your mission, and because now you're on a roll, you're evolving and challenging yourself and making a greater contribution. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on this Monetize Your Mission series. Seriously, I've just heard so many great nuggets. The detail, guys, this is the wisdom and the gold nuggets that Jessica shared. You're standing on her shoulders, which what she didn't have, she's given to us to be able to, if you're looking to blog, have an online presence and just transition a hobby into something that you can monetize. Here it is. Here's how it's done. So thank you, Jessica, so much for sharing your content. And Jessica's free gifts are available at deliciousobsessions.com/monetize summit gift, which will be in the email that you guys have received. Other than that, guys, I will see you next time for our next episode of Monetize Your Mission. Any questions, please email us and let us know. Jessica, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you. Take care. See you soon, guys.